Hey, hey, hey. Or as we said all weekend at the conference I was at, hey girl, hey. I've never been that kind of hey girl, hey person, but it got to be a real thing, and I'm going to tell you. Hey, Glenda. I was really excited to be in the company of those women. I'm not going to tell you everything I learned. Hey, Margaret. Because, as they pointed out, we paid a lot of money, but mainly because I want you to go with me next year. So I'm hoping that over the next few weeks, I can share enough to let you get the gist of what I was able to pick up. I'm still digesting all of it. I'm still going back over my notes and going, oh yeah, I remember when she said that. Or, seeing things that I was like, oh, I need to investigate that more. So it's kind of exciting. Hi, Andrea. I'm glad you could hop on. I know. Wow. International, Margaret. Thank you so much. Thank you, Glenda and Andrea, for hopping on too. I know, Andrea, live, right? I was just telling them that I know you went to an amazing conference this weekend. Friday afternoon and evening, and then all day Saturday, I was in one of the most incredible conferences I've ever been to. I mean, I can remember at one point thinking, I don't think my brain can absorb one more. Oh, thank you. You don't want to know how it's rigged up. I'm still working on it, but it's a big upgrade for sure. I don't think my brain can absorb one more piece of information. And it just kept coming and coming. Charlotte Mitchell was the organizer of it. And she had people from so many walks of life and from so many backgrounds and so many dreams of, all different kinds. I can't think of anybody that could have sat in that room and not gotten just a wealth of information. I mean, it was really priceless. And it's so weird because I had had this feeling when I registered for it. Something just told me, Mary, this is going to be a life-changing experience for you. And hey, Barbara, and it turns out it was. So, yeah, Barbara, I was just saying, you know this, Andrea knows, because I've been talking about it, how life-changing this conference was this week. It just blew me away. It just blew me away. And I'll talk in a minute here about the environment and, how I felt while I was there. And then I'm going to share a little bit of good information and talk about what's coming up for the rest of this year and the year ahead. And I'm not going to keep you on too long because even though I got an extra hour of sleep, I am still crazy tired. I think I'm just exhausted from learning so much. But I also don't want to keep you on too long. So let's dive right in. If you're joining on the replay, if you haven't met me yet, I'm Mary Moss. I live in Richmond, Virginia. I'm a writer, speaker, retreat leader, author, poet, anything having to do with words. Basically, I love it. That's my dream life. My 9 to 5, I'm an office administrator for a transportation project here in Richmond. And I'm lucky that I really love doing what I'm doing in my regular job. And it also affords me the opportunity to also do what I love in my dream life. So I'm pretty blessed. So let's I just want to share a couple of these nuggets with you first. I know that, especially this time of year, a lot of companies, if you're part of a company, they're pushing you to finish the year strong. The holidays are coming. You need to post, sell. Post all the time, talk all the time about, how great your products are, whatever. I was in that world, and it never felt good to me, but I know that that's what they do, and I understand that. When you're in sales, you want to sell products. It's just like this last election cycle. I don't know how it was anywhere else in the country, but we were at the point where Jim and I were saying we would rather hear back-to-back commercials on medical conditions than like 3 and 4 and 5 political ads in a row. I guess it's so hotly contested here. So I get it. That's what we're supposed to do. But I never felt like that was the way to go. My wheelhouse, my comfort zone is always that I want to pour into other people. If I go live and tell you that I want to give you some great news, it's about news that you can benefit from. It's not, of course, I consider us all friends, the whole world, all of Facebook. But of course I want to share good news with my friends to offer encouragement for other people, to demonstrate that if I can do it, others can do it, whatever it might be. But I also want to pour into other people with the knowledge that I have, and with the wisdom that I've gleaned, and with what I've learned. Because that's what we're all about. And that's what this whole conference, it was like more than one of the women, and I'm talking, there were some millionaires, there were some people in CEO magazine, and people, on national TV and in stores, and, Target stores. And there were, these women were phenomenal. Millionaires, and it was crazy. Not all of them, but some of them. But you couldn't tell by looking at any of them, or by how any of them acted, which ones had really made it, and which ones were still working to get there. Part of that is because the ones who have already made it, their heart's desire is to bring everybody along with them. They wanted all of us in that room to be where they are this time next year. And the others, in the room, we all just felt elevated. Hey, Jean, we felt elevated to be around them. It's really hard to explain, but there was not this air of, arrogance or anything else. It was confidence. And, I've heard more than once that what gives you confidence is succeeding at something. And succeeding, and you get more and more confidence. So that's what I just felt being pulled out of me this weekend. It was really phenomenal, and it was kind of off-putting at first, and then I just kind of melted into it, and felt surrounded by it, and really nurtured by it. It was just great. There were individual testimonies. People shared their individual stories. There were panel discussions. Everything from technology, hacks and tips and tools, to sales, approaches, to anything you can imagine. It was covered at this conference. And like I said, at a couple points, I just kept going, no, I can't take any more. It's just too much. So there was that much value in it. And one of the things I loved, one of the women quoted Maya Angelou, who I love, who defines success like this. And this was kind of like the whole attitude of the room and the whole theme that ran throughout the whole thing. Maya Angelou said that success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. It's that simple. And I thought, wow, that's really pretty cut and dried, isn't it? That's how you know you're successful, I guess. So that's the benchmark. We don't have to look at ranks or titles or numbers or dollars. Do you like yourself? Do you like what you do? And do you like how you do it? If the answer is yes to the three of those, you're golden, right? You're golden. So that was kind of like a mind shift for me. Hey, Marty. Um, there were all kinds of mind shifts for me. And I don't know if you could tell from any of my posts, but I'm like beyond on fire. I've been like ignited and burned down and relit. Um, it just made me realize that the things that I'd been allowing to hold me back were of my own making. That, hey, sweetie, good to see you. That I thought, I had shared, I'm going to turn this around a little bit over to my, the board over here that I had, was so proud of, and I am proud of it. All these things, all these ideas. And what I'm realizing is these are now the foundation. They're not the ultimate goal. These are tools in my tool belt. These are, the things that I realized that I want to do for myself next year, so that I can pour into people in more ways and in better ways, is so much bigger than what I had even envisioned. And it's not even bigger, it's just things are so clarified and crystallized for me after this weekend. Like, why couldn't I be one of those $1 million people? And it's not because I'm so smart, not because I have the greatest ideas. It's because if I'm willing to work hard, I can accomplish whatever goal I have for myself. And so can you. Whatever you're doing, whatever your dream is, if you work hard enough, you will get there. Some of these women overcame some stuff I don't even want to think about. Some of them were still enduring it while they were talking. Terrible, awful things going on in their lives. But they were not defeated by any of it. And that was the other theme throughout, that none of them were defeated by failures or by fear, that they use fear as a launching pad, and that they use their failures as fuel for what was to come next. Those were the over and over again, that was the sense that I got, and the conversations that were had. I came away with, I have pages and pages of notes in here. I mean, I couldn't write fast enough in some cases. But all this yellow is the stuff that I wrote down at one point that I have to do immediately. There are things like I have to make myself an official business. My website will be finished by the end of the year with my phenomenal web designer, who actually came up with a great idea for a new offering that I'm going to be launching the first of the year. Hey, I'm so glad you hopped on. Thank you. Hey, Cassie. Hey, Alicia. It's a brand new offering. It's something that's definitely on my brand. And it's just the perfect thing for me. So I'm really excited to be sharing that. So I had already come up with some of that. I have so much work to do. And have you ever seen anybody say that when they were smiling this big? I have so much work to do. My goal is going to be patient but deliberate and intentional, and to keep moving. And so you all have to help me be accountable. Hey, Pat. Because patience is not my virtue. But I'm really been trying to do that. I've been trying to be still and to listen to God and to move when He says move, and to not move when He says wait. And, this is not something I'm skilled at, because I'm the type of person that always likes to charge ahead. Oh, that's a great idea. I'll go do that. Without waiting for God to lead me how He wants that idea to be implemented or deployed. What I'm finding is that when I do that, He never lets me down. And the things that the doors that He's opening for me, the opportunities that are coming about because of that obedience are just phenomenal. They're things I never even imagined in a million years. So for me, part of that whole thing of what next year will hold, yes, he's given me soldiers to slow me down. Yes, he has. For me, I realized that in order for me to do all of the things that I want to do, I need to gain as much knowledge as I can. I need to seek out the wisdom and knowledge of others. And that doesn't mean go to everything down that comes down the pike, every conference, every workshop, every, oh, that sounds good, that sounds good, that sounds good. But I have to be sure that for instance, Andrea and I are offering a visioning workshop in a couple weeks. Well, this Saturday, I'm taking a vision journaling workshop that another friend who also happens to have been at the conference and on the panel. She's one of the leaders in the group. And she's offering that, and it's an annual offering that she does. And so I'm excited to have a vision journal. That's going to be really awesome. A specific place where I can keep track of my progress and, and know that I'm on track, make sure that I'm not getting too far off base, and also just checking my progress, because we all need that. So let's see, what else? There were a couple of other things. I'm checking the time because I promised I wouldn't keep you too long. Over the next weeks and months, I will definitely be sharing a lot of what I picked up. It does keep accountability. Hi, Opal. For sure. I'll be sharing some of this information. Mostly I can't share it because I haven't digested it all yet. I just keep going back, flipping pages and saying, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, I remember that. So a lot of it, as I'm unwrapping it all, I will be sharing some of it with you. There was something that really struck me. There was a lot of talk, and you hear a lot of coaches talk about fear and, that fear is one of the biggest things that holds us back. But this concept that was introduced by one of the women, I think may have been, without being too overly dramatic, it may have been life-changing in and of itself, this one truth. And I hope that if there's nothing else that you get out of tonight, that you hear this. Do not equate being uncomfortable with being incompetent. Uncomfortable does not equal incompetence. Am I the only one that was like head exploding when I heard this? I mean, I wrote it down and I underscored it because, let's face it, we don't just come out of the womb knowing how to implement our God-given dream. We can't possibly know everything there is to know. But so often I think we start to feel, I'm just so uncomfortable doing that. I'm uncomfortable speaking in front of a group. I'm uncomfortable going live. I'm uncomfortable sharing my writing. I'm uncomfortable telling people about my products. That doesn't mean, and so we start telling ourselves, I'm no good at that. I'm not good at it. That's why I won't do it. That's why I can't do it. When it's exactly the other way around. We would become competent with the doing. That uncomfortableness tells us to keep going. Is it, Leslie, what? The feeling incompetent or hopefully the feeling uncomfortable? We need to talk. When we're uncomfortable, that means that we've really hit on something. That's a sign for us that we need to explore, what does that feeling mean? We're uncomfortable because we can't do it on our own. We can only do it with God's help. And that was the other phenomenal thing that struck me. And I talked to one of my friends at the conference who also happened to be there, who I know is a very strong Christian like I am. And I said, you know what's so phenomenal to me is that nobody said this was going to be Christian women. Nobody said this was going to be a Christian conference. But my golly, every single woman in a leadership role, every single woman who spoke, talked about God being the source of our dream and being the source of our success. Every woman, to a woman. I don't know if everyone in the room was a Christian, but I'm pretty sure that at least 90% of them were. And that is, yes, it is a beautiful thing. It was amazing to woman after woman talking about God did it all. You know, that God, but God, but God. And that's true for me. It's true for all of us. And that uncomfortableness, I think, I don't know if that's even a word, that uncomfortable is telling us, okay, you need to lean into God a little harder. You need to listen a little more intently. You need to pray a little harder and a little more sincerely. And then you need to just do it because you're not doing it on your own. God is right there. If, what's the old thing? If there's a will, there's a way. Well, God doesn't, I can't remember what, he doesn't send the qualified. He qualifies the people he sends, whatever. He's the source of our ability. He's the source. We don't ever want to have a comfort level, do we? If we start getting really comfortable with ourselves, then we stop growing and we stop working toward the next goal, the next goal, the next goal, because God's going to keep elevating us. The more we push ourselves, he will elevate us as far as we want to go. Even farther than we want to go, farther than we think we can go. It was a blessed time, Pat. It was just really, I've never experienced anything like it before, and I've been to a lot of conferences. There was a scripture that I read, and no one mentioned this scripture per se that was there, but I think I remembered that there was a scripture about fear and trembling. And let's see, Philippians 2, verse 12. Chapter 2, verse 12. Therefore, my beloved, just as you have always obeyed, not only in my presence, but now even more in my absence, continue to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. For it is God who works in you to will and to act on behalf of his good purpose. I just love that. Continue to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. God intends us to be uncomfortable. That's so we will seek him. So we'll turn to him. That fear and trembling is God-given. Isn't that phenomenal? I mean, doesn't that just allow you to just give yourself permission to just go for it? That's what I'm doing. And I may make a lot of mistakes and I may stumble and fall, but fear is not going to hold me back from anything anymore. I'm proceeding. And what I have found is that the more I listen to God, the more he reveals to me of his plan. And it's kind of scary. It's more than uncomfortable. But I know, that it's all going to play out in his plan, in his time. And so I don't need to really continue to fear and continue to allow fear to hold me back. Because as I've said, as my coach John Eric taught me years ago, our dreams are not for us. They're for the world. And the world needs our dreams. And so it's our responsibility to pursue them. That's right. He's the creator and author of our dreams. And he didn't give them to us to hide away and to huddle in fear and to, what's that little song, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Not going to put it under a basket. We're supposed to be lights on a hill. So anyway, that's enough of my preaching for tonight. I know you can tell my enthusiasm, my complete gratitude, my overwhelm with possibilities, and just a new sense of purpose and sense of self that I'll be forever grateful for. I hope that some of this was what you needed to hear. If you know of anyone else that you think needs to hear this, please tell them about this live. Please let them know to hop on over here. I'll put that scripture in the comments. And there was something else that I was gonna... Oh, Andre and I are doing the visioning workshop. If you're here in the Richmond area or within, close driving distance, that's coming up on, Andrea, help me, November 16th, I think, whatever that Saturday is. And it's going to be really great. We're going to talk about not only our vision for 2020, but did you realize that 2020 starts a new decade? So we're going to talk about our vision for the next decade and break that down a little bit. And then we'll get together again in January and make vision boards. So we're really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'll drop a link to that event also, and the link to pay if you would like to attend. So thanks for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate you taking the time. I hope you have a great Monday, a great rest of the week. And Mary's Monday Musings, I'm going to start going live just on the first Monday of every month. I'll go live other times, but Mary's Monday Musings isn't going to be every Monday night. I'm going to be doing some other live things on my timeline and on my author page, but I'll try to make the time, 30 minutes or less, and try to make it as meaningful and impactful as possible, since it's only going to be once a month now. So thanks for your continued support, and I will talk to you all soon.